Welcome, everyone. This is the latest interview in our special community showcase series highlighting the Informs communities, which are comprised of special interest sections, societies, chapters, and forums. Joining me today are David Goldberg, Associate Professor and Director of Undergraduate Studies in the Department of Operations Research and Information Engineering at Cornell University. And we also have Henry Lamb, Associate Professor in the Department of Industrial Engineering and Operations Research at Columbia University. They are the chair and vice chair, respectively, of the Informs Applied Probability Society. David and Henry, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I want to start with a basic question for anyone who's unfamiliar, especially younger students who might come across this interview. What is probability theory, and what are some examples of how it's applied in real life?
Sure. So probability theory is really at its heart just reasoning about uncertainty in all the different kind of places it arises in society and just all the kind of industrial and economic problems that we face at scale today. And, a canonical example here where uncertainty played a key role was in the recent COVID pandemic, where that was kind of a canonical example of a setting where uncertainty was profound, it was high stakes. And, what kind of tools were essential there amongst all the many tools? People had to reason about uncertainty as far as how an epidemic would spread. You had to reason about uncertainty as far as how someone's health outcomes might evolve. You even had to reason about uncertainty about your uncertainty, essentially, because there were a lot of so-called, unknown unknowns in that situation. And so you had to really think about how to model that. And in some sense, probability theory is really how do we take those kinds of, profound and fundamental conundrums that arise over and over in our society today, also in, if you look at large-scale supply chain issues nowadays, it's all about uncertainty and high variability and unexpected events. How do you build systems that can deal with that? How do we understand and quantify that uncertainty? Not to mention in kind of modern machine learning, at the heart of it is kind of how do you reason in an uncertain environment and kind of learn and evolve? And so it's all that kind of stuff. So I think that would be kind of a high-level introduction to what is probability and how is it used in the real world. Henry, I don't know if you'd want to add something to that.
Well, Dave, I think you have given a very nice overview. Perhaps one thing I would add is, so probability theory is about understanding uncertainty, but also perhaps how to manage uncertainty, which is very closely tied to the mission of Informs. So basically, you want to quantify these uncertainties, like trying to get numbers or prediction out from it. You also want to understand what is the implications of these uncertainties, like over time, because of this uncertainty, how would the system evolve over time? And then you also want to, given that, you also want to know what's the right course of action to hash these uncertainties or, to minimize the risk out from that. So I view all this as part of probability theory, very broadly speaking.
Okay, thank you. Can you explain how the Applied Probability Society fits into Informs and just what type of work its members are involved in?
Sure. So one of the wonderful things about applied probability is that since uncertainty and the kind of managing and reasoning of uncertainty arises in, to my knowledge, every single other society within Informs, the Applied Probability Society is in some ways kind of a glue where we get outstanding researchers at all levels of seniority, from undergraduate students to PhD students to faculty at all levels to kind of luminaries, very senior people in the field, who are coming with their own take and their own kind of problems about where uncertainty has arisen in domains as broad as optimization, machine learning, supply chain analysis, healthcare, service systems, operations management has seen a tremendous influx of applied probability kind of tools and techniques lately. And it's just because all these domains have uncertainty kind of baked into it, pretty much where applied probability in some ways becomes is a wonderful home for all these people looking at all these interesting problems across all these communities that are then kind of unified by this passion for thinking and reasoning about uncertainty in all kinds of ways. And I think that's, that's wonderful. And yeah, in addition to that, I'll also say that, applied probability also has kind of its own kind of core domain of problems. There's kind of a certain family of models that arise over and over in some of these problems that are typically called kind of stochastic models or probability models. And unsurprisingly, the Applied Probability Society has a tremendous amount of expertise in those kinds of models where, we've been studying them for almost 100 years or something like this. And but again, in addition, those connections to other fields, including optimization, machine learning, statistics, et cetera, where uncertainty is also really baked into it. Just everyone is coming together and just celebrating scholarship and celebrating impact in a wonderful way. Henry, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Yeah.
Yeah, again, a very nice overview, Dave. Perhaps the only thing I would add is in terms of what our members are involved in doing, the type of work. As David said, it really ranges a great variety. And I would also put the variety in terms of, the type of research that they do. Like, on the one extreme, they could look at the mathematical theory behind how to understand these uncertainties. But on the other side of the extreme is, they apply all these tools in applied probability to very specialized applications like, logistics, communication networks, revenue management, etc. So as David said, I think our applied probability tools really touch upon, a lot of different aspects, from all the way from theory to applications.
Very good, thank you. What are some recent developments or innovations in the field that you're each excited about?
Sure. So one thing I've been really excited to see, and honestly quite proud to see, especially to see just the tremendous impact that our members have been having, is how applied probability, both the tools, techniques, but also just the people in the society and the community have been having a tremendous impact on some of the most important questions in machine learning and statistics over the past years. This includes models like multi-arm bandit models, causal inference models, problems in high-dimensional statistics, and robust optimization, where again, ideas and tools coming from the Applied Probability Society have now been able to have a huge impact in this kind of new domain. At the same time, over that same time span, and I'd say, I'm thinking maybe the last 10, 15 years, it's also been wonderful to see the community continue to make fundamental progress on longstanding problems that, the society's been looking at for 50, 60 years, be it in the study of communication networks and queuing systems, the study of kind of online optimization, and in other domains.
Yeah, so what David is excited about is also what I'm excited about. So I don't have too much to add, but I do feel very happy to see members of our APS society, they have presence, in other domains, in machine learning, AI applications, optimizations, etc. I also feel very proud of that.
And can I add one thing there, Tracy? One thing I want to explicitly comment on is how just how amazing it was during the pandemic to see the community come together and just organically ask, how can I use my knowledge, my expertise to help people in this terrible situation? And again, the tools of applied probability were extremely relevant there. And it was just inspiring to see that.
That's a great point, David. I had the same feeling. The last few years have obviously been quite difficult, but watching our members in whatever capacity they work come together the way they did and contribute the way they did was really inspiring. So I agree. Now, can you each, we're just going to shift gears a little bit. Can you each tell us how you personally became involved in the society and what that's been like for you?
Sure. So this will connect to another question you might ask later, which is what makes this society special? And one thing that makes the society special, it's that its members are really more like a family than an academic society. And people at all levels of seniority make the time for one another and really care about not just the academic scholarship that we're doing, although people care deeply about that, but just about the people. It's really a community in the strongest sense of the word. And honestly, the reason I got involved in this society originally was that when I was an undergraduate student at Columbia, I had a wonderful mentor named Ward Witt, and I did a lot of undergraduate research with him in the area of applied probability, and he introduced me to just this wonderful community, and all the senior people were just so welcoming. And I remember, as a lowly undergrad, having like an hours-long conversations with all these big shot academics, and it was just so meaningful. And I think everyone in the society is constantly trying to, pay it forward, because I think so many of us have those kinds of memories and experiences.
Yeah, the way I came to the society first is also through my advisor. In my case, my PhD advisor. So at that time, he, asked me to, go to conference, present my work, and start talking to people in this community. And I find this community very nice and very friendly. Everyone support each other. It's really a good community to be in. And from that point onwards, I become involved in this society.
And I'll even just throw in, and Henry, I don't know if we didn't double check exactly when was the first conference we met at, but I mean, it must have been at least like 15 years ago now. And honestly,
right.
like a lot of us have just gone through life together. Now we started as these young kids in grad school, and now we're, many years have passed, but we're just, it's really a strong community.
Yeah, it's beyond just colleagues. It's on at the level of friends.
Yeah,
or even close friends.
I had members from the community in my, in my wedding party at my wedding. It's very meaningful, just to support standpoint.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what are the events and activities that the society hosts each year.
Yeah, so this is something we're really excited about, because in addition to the kind of events we've traditionally been holding, which I'll talk about in a moment, there's actually several initiatives to have new kinds of events, to bring the community together, to help our community members to thrive, and just to create wonderful kind of academic and social experiences. So maybe to first comment on kind of what are the traditional things that we do. There's, of course, the Applied Probability track at the annual Informs Conference, which is kind of every year. The Applied Probability Society has its Informs Applied Probability Conference every other summer. It alternates with the Stochastic Networks Conference, which, although not officially through the Informs Applied Probability Society, has a very heavy overlap there. And those alternate every other year. COVID had created a short-term challenge, but I think we're back on track now. And we just had an extremely successful conference in France, the Applied Probability Society Conference, and we're very much looking forward to the next one in Atlanta. So there's those events. At the APS Informs track, we, in addition to the obvious, the talk sessions, we also have try to create special opportunities for our younger members. We have kind of lightning talk opportunities for our youngest members to kind of talk about their work, and meet people. We're also extremely excited about a new mentorship experience that we're starting this year, in which we'll be explicitly connecting junior and senior researchers at Informs. We're very excited to see how that goes. In addition to that, we have kind of a regular set of prizes that we give out to society members. This includes, every year we run a best student paper competition, which is wonderful and gets to showcase some of our best work by junior people. We also have every other year a overall best paper award, as well as a prize called the Erlang Prize for a outstanding junior scholar in the field. We also recently started a new prize named after David Blackwell, who was kind of a luminary in the field, to honor kind of one of our most senior kind of people in the field who's just had a tremendous impact. And that's a new prize, which we're very excited about. As far as other new initiatives that are kind of on the horizon, that are things we're really excited about, we've started having kind of applied probability satellite events at some of the larger, for example, machine learning conferences, to kind of try to help bring a sense of our tight-knit community to some of these bigger conferences where it may be a little less clear where people would naturally meet up. We're also looking to hold additional virtual events, including opportunities for intergenerational wisdom transfer, where we're going to have junior people kind of interview some of the more senior people out there, to create, again, just keep building on that sense of community, that sense of family. Our flagship journal is the Stochastic Systems Journal. Our members also publish in kind of a broader range of Informs and probability journals. Let me think. Other things kind of on the horizon for the society. One thing I want to say that's been a tremendous success, that although again not officially tied to the society, has very strong ties to the society. I believe during the pandemic is when it started. There's an online seminar called the SNAP seminar, SNAPP, which is run often by many academics, but many from the Applied Probability Society, that has people come and speak about cutting edge research in applied probability and stochastic networks and other topics. And that's been another just great way to bring people together. And it was especially wonderful during the pandemic to have that opportunity. Henry, am I missing things? I probably am.
No, I think you have exhausted
Exhausted
things
all
that
things. Exhausted all things.
But maybe I would add that we would also like to continue with new initiatives as we, move forward and see the need.
Sure, it sounds like you are a very busy group, very active, and that's wonderful. Okay, so I think you touched on this a little bit earlier, but can you talk about the specific benefits of being a member of Applied Probability Society? So like, especially for someone in the early stages of their career, or even for students, what's in it for them?
Yeah, so I would say that, my top 1, 2, and 3 answer for that would be the true sense of community and family, where it's not just about you go and you present your work and then, people are on their phones, honestly, and you go and you do whatever. This is a community of scholars and a community of friends. And again, it's really more like a family. Opportunities for networking and meeting senior people and having wonderful research conversations and collaborations. They're just organic here. And again, I think that is part of that is to do with kind of the historical evolution of the field and its roots, and it's just really a wonderful place where people with this shared interest in thinking about uncertainty can come together and find common kinship and share their passion for researching in uncertainty, And just everyone is very kind and welcoming, and you'll get to interact with people at all levels of seniority and just have a lot of fun. We're a fun group.
Yeah, I fully agree with Dave. I mean, the biggest benefit is the support from this community as a family.
So if someone is watching this and now you've really sold it and they are interested in becoming involved in the society, what would be their first step?
Yeah, so I'd say two things. First, feel free to shoot me an email. You can Google me and find my email. I'd be happy to chat and hear what you're working on and your ideas, etc. Second, we'd certainly recommend coming to some of the talks at the Informs APS conference. The APS business meeting is a great way to get to know people. One other thing, which I guess I neglected to say, Henry, I thought of one thing we didn't mention. One of our kind of biggest events at each annual Informs is the Markov Lecture, where we have kind of a real leader in the field come and present often on stuff that's new that people might not have had a ton of exposure to, and come to that, come to the business meeting. Certainly, if you can make it to the Informs APS conference over the summer, that's also a great way to meet people. Keep an eye out for APS satellite events at, if you're going to other conferences. And again, maybe the number one thing I'd say is that this is a society, in no small part defined by the people that are in it, because we're kind of a family. And so just seek any of these people out. They'd love to get to know you and talk about your work, and welcome you to the Applied Probability family.
Yep, I think that's a great introduction to how to join us.
And I will just add too that people can always write to informs@informs.org if you need any help actually figuring out how to add the society to your existing membership, or if you want to begin a new membership and include the society, just reach out to Informs and we can also help with that. Well, it sounds like you all have built a very, very special community. So thank you, David. Thank you, Henry, for sharing a look inside the Applied Probability Society and its members and their work and just their role in Informs and beyond. So if you have been enjoying learning about the different Informs communities through this series, stay tuned for more interviews coming soon.